The world fractured. Kael collapsed onto the snow, ribs screaming. 3 days. 3 days since Lyra, his twin, his anchor, was ripped away. The frost beast's roar still echoed. Lyra's last breath, a whisper against Kael's cheek. Then the snap, the bond severed. Kael waited for the madness, the raw power to consume him, but it never came. Only cold and jagged, unfamiliar magic. The blizzard raged, unnatural in its ferocity. Every gust felt like a hunter's breath. He was stranded, alone. Kael forced himself to stand. His broken ribs screamed with every movement. Survival was a blunt, cold command. He needed warmth. He reached for the tether, for the familiar spark. Instead, a searing, icy fire flared. The new magic felt wrong. It hurt. It tasted of ashes and grief. Yet, it was undeniably powerful. A shadow flickered at the edge of his vision. Not snow, but movement. The severed. They hunted their own. He remembered Lyra's laughter, bright and clear like a mountain spring. A painful memory, now a cruel echo. Kael pushed onward, one agonizing step after another. The blizzard pressed in, a suffocating shroud. Hunger gnawed at him. His body was failing. The fear of freezing was a constant, icy companion. He found a small alcove, a brief respite. He tried to conjure a fire. The blue flames burst forth, shimmering. The flames crackled, and then a whisper, faint, almost imperceptible. Lyra's voice. Kael froze. He shook his head, blaming exhaustion, blaming grief. It was impossible. Lyra was gone. A rustle in the snow. A small, predatory creature. Kael instinctively raised his hand, forming a shield. The shield shimmered, cold blue, but it was not a flat barrier. It was shaped like Lyra's old wooden bird, wings outstretched. Kael stared. The bird, Lyra's treasured childhood toy. His heart hammered against his ribs. This was no delusion. The whispers intensified. He heard it clearly now, a distant, agonizing cry. Lyra! The tether hadn't broken. It had inverted. Lyra wasn't gone. His soul was trapped, inside Kael's magic, screaming. A memory surfaced. The Spire of Silence, a forbidden place. Legend said it could dissolve a tether completely. Kael's grief turned to fierce resolve. He would free Lyra, no matter the cost. He left the alcove, spurred by a new, desperate purpose. The blizzard howled, but Lyra's silent screams were louder. The severed closed in. Their forms were indistinct in the storm, but their mad hunger was palpable. Kael unleashed a blast of magic. Jagged shards of blue light tore through the air. Lyra's agony was a physical force. Every spell was a torment. He was using Lyra's very soul as a weapon. The guilt was unbearable. He traversed a treacherous ice gorge, the wind threatening to rip him from the narrow path. Below, a dizzying drop. Lyra's cries grew louder in his mind, a constant, piercing shriek. Kael gritted his teeth, pushing through the noise. He stumbled, and for a moment saw Lyra's face in the swirling snow. A vision, pleading, fading. A massive frost beast, its fur caked with ice, lunged from an overhang. Its fangs gleamed. Kael fought. He conjured ice spears, a desperate flurry of cold, sharp magic. Lyra's screams became a roar in his head. He drove the beast back, wounded. Kael collapsed, panting, the taste of Lyra's suffering bitter on his tongue. He crawled into a small cave, desperate for shelter. His body was failing, but his resolve held firm. Inside, nestled among some old provisions, he found a faded, brittle map. It detailed the route to the spire. Hope, a fragile spark, ignited in his chest. A path, a chance for Lyra's peace. The map led him through a winding pass. He felt a sudden chill, not from the wind, an ambush. Severed burst from the snow, their movements jerky, unnatural. Their eyes burned with the same madness Kael feared. Kael fought with a new ferocity. He was no longer just surviving, he was fighting for Lyra's freedom. Then, a presence. A conduit twisted by despair. The leader of the severed, a shadow of what he once was. The leader's voice was a rasp. I hear him, your precious anchor, a beautiful torment. The taunts fueled Kael's rage. He blasted a path through the severed, ignoring the pain, ignoring Lyra's rising screams. He escaped, but at a cost. His left arm hung useless. He felt the cold touch of madness creeping in. He tried to heal. The magic surged, burning his arm from the inside. Lyra's screams were a physical blow. Kael fought the encroaching madness, the lure of giving in. Lyra deserved better. He deserved peace. The Spire of Silence. It stood before him now, a dark sentinel against the storm. His destination. Kael, please, release me. Lyra. Kael's resolve hardened. He would not fail. Not now. Not when Lyra called to him. He reached the base of the spire, a massive, ancient doorway sealed by centuries of ice and forgotten magic. But he was not alone. The severed, a horde of them, emerged from the blizzard, led by their mad conduit. This was it, the final stand. Kael raised his staff, a beacon of defiant, agonizing blue energy. He unleashed everything. A storm of ice and lightning, fueled by Lyra's torment, lashed out at the severed. Kael clashed with the severed leader, a duel of despair against determination. The ground shook. With a final, desperate surge, Kael struck down the leader. His magic flared, consuming the mad conduit in a cold, blue inferno. The remaining severed scattered. Kael, battered and broken, stumbled towards the massive door. The ancient door yielded. He entered a vast, silent chamber, dominated by a single glowing altar. Kael placed his hands on the altar. The ritual began. Agony ripped through him, worse than any physical wound. Lyra's screams crescendoed, then slowly, agonizingly began to fade. A final, peaceful sigh filled the chamber. The tether snapped, this time truly. The magic vanished. Kael felt empty, a hollow vessel. Lyra was free. Kael was a hollow. No magic, no power, just silence, and a profound, aching peace. He emerged from the spire, a new man, vulnerable, exposed, but whole in a way he hadn't been since birth. The world was still dangerous, but the internal struggle was over. Lyra was at rest. He carried Lyra's memory now, pure and untainted by pain. Not a scream, but a gentle echo of love. Kael walked towards the rising sun, towards an uncertain future, but one finally free from the echo of the severed.